Hello and welcome to our Capital Readiness Program webinar for July. We're so happy you can join us today to learn more about AI-generated versus AI-enhanced content and marketing your business. I'm Laura Bray, Strategic Projects Program Manager with the Universities of Wisconsin Strategic Projects Department, and I'm working closely with the Capital Readiness Program. And I'll post some links in the chat that you'll hopefully find helpful. The Capital Readiness Program is a federal grant project funded by the Minority Business Development Agency and the Department of Commerce. Our goal is to create an on-demand training program to help women entrepreneurs realize capital for their small businesses. The program offers 4 learning tracks based on your business type: early stage, growth stage, food ag businesses, and tech businesses. We will next run all 4 tracks in September. Cohorts are forming now. Please reach out to me if you're interested in participating. Another opportunity for technical assistance is available through the SSBCI, or the State Small Business Credit Initiative, in which you may realize up to $1,000 worth of consulting help in the areas of taxes, business financials, bookkeeping, and so on if you are seeking capital. If this is of interest to you, please again reach out to me to learn more. If you've completed training or have explored participating in one of our cohorts, I thank you for your interest and ask you to please complete the MBDA Client Transaction Form survey as part of our program. It's very important for us to collect data from our participants throughout the grant period, 2027. We are specifically looking for information on business starts, capital realized, businesses scaled, and contracts awarded. We very much appreciate your time and sharing of your progress. With that, let's get on to our presentation today. A reminder that this webinar is being recorded and it will be posted for free public access on our CRP website. And now, a warm welcome and thank you to Temi and Carleen, who will be sharing best practices in using AI to generate marketing content.
Thank you, Laura. Okay, we're going to get our screen set up real quick here. Awesome. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about AI enhanced versus AI generated content. My name is Carleen Meyer. I am a senior here at UW Oshkosh and a marketing major.
My name is Temi. I'm also a senior here at UW Oshkosh, majoring in interactive web management.
And now we just have a little video for you talking about the Digital Marketing Clinic.
After surveying businesses during the pandemic, we created the Digital Marketing Clinic. As we approach our 5-year anniversary, it is amazing to reflect on our accomplishments. We have served over 500 clients, supported over 6,000 jobs, and we have had 34 students go through our program as student consultants.
We work with businesses at any stage, from startup to exit. We offer no-cost consulting, trainings, workshops, research support, and access to a network of specialty consultants.
Small business clients that are accepted to the clinic receive 20 hours of no-cost consulting from a student intern with digital marketing expertise.
Some specific consulting services we provide include strategic marketing recommendations, keyword research, landing page optimization,
website audits, social media audits, content calendars and template creation, website design and development, digital assets, and more.
Our clients enjoy working with us because we provide them with sound marketing strategy and make sure they understand it every step of the way. We try to be transparent throughout the whole process and make sure that they are understanding the changes we are making for them as well.
I think that the most rewarding part of being a student consultant has been not only helping small businesses grow their digital presence, but also seeing firsthand the impact that we've made.
The Digital Marketing Clinic has allowed myself and the clients I've served to gain industry insight on current trends and practices to further grow their small businesses. As an aspiring marketer, the clinic has taught me valuable skills in areas of branding, website development, social media, advertising, and so much more.
At the DMC, the learning never stops, and I think that's part of what makes it so special.
I'm grateful for this opportunity and the ability to help small businesses across the state of Wisconsin.
So that's a little bit about the Digital Marketing Clinic. And if you are interested in learning more, we highly encourage you to check out some information on the Universities of Wisconsin website.
So, what we're gonna discuss today, we're gonna start with AI enhanced versus AI generated. We're gonna talk about the difference between those two. Then we're also gonna talk about how small businesses use AI and the dangers of generative AI. And we're also gonna talk about the benefits of taking your own pictures, then the proper use of AI, tips and best practices, and then we're gonna end with some question and answers. Now we're going to the segment of artificial intelligence.
So just as a quick little recap, artificial intelligence, or also known as AI, is the ability of a computer or a machine to perform tasks that typically require the human intelligence. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with AI, and as you may know, AI is certainly on the rise and it can be a very powerful tool, especially in digital marketing. And of course, with a very powerful tool, we do need to consider the limitations. So today we're going to focus on generative AI.
First, we're gonna go with some icebreakers. Is there anyone in the room here that uses AI?
If you could just put it in the chat, like yes, no. Perfect.
Perfect. And if you do use AI, I see some people in the chat say they do. How do you use it? What do you use it for? Is there anyone? Okay,
Text questions.
that's a good one. I've not heard of that. That's new.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. Um,
To assist with drafting rooms.
admit.
Computer research, ChatGPT, projects, agents, chatbots.
Hmm.
Great, these are really good responses. I use AI to help me rewrite, to activate voice for newsletter and help my dyslexic issues. Oh, that's
Okay.
interesting. Okay, so good to know, and thank you for those responses. So
Yeah.
as you can see, AI is definitely used all over the board, and especially in those examples, not even just for marketing, can be
Mhm.
used for many different areas. But so first, we're going to focus on the generative AI aspect and the enhanced AI. So first, to talk about generative AI, you might be wondering what this is. Well, generative AI is content that is completely generated by artificial intelligence. This can be a lot of things we see our small business clients using this for are blog posts, product descriptions, images, videos, email campaigns, and so many more. And all of these are results of prompts. So to show you here, this is a prompt that I gave ChatGPT and I said, generate me an image of a log cabin on the lake. And this is the image that it generated for me. So as you can see, it can be used to generate images.
And then now we're gonna talk about enhanced AI. What is this? It starts with an original content that you give to the AI. It could be ChatGPT. I feel like that's what most people use. You give the original content to the AI, and then AI helps you to improve it. This could be rewriting text, like making your emails sound more professional, or adding website content to your website. It could also be fixing images that you already have. For example, this slide shows the one at the top was the original image, and then we just used AI to, make it brighter on the at the bottom image. So that's how we use AI to enhance images, and some people also use it to clean up the audio of their video. Yeah.
And so now you might be wondering, now that you know what generative AI is and enhanced AI, you might be wondering what the big deal is. So what we want to focus on today is just talking about how generative AI usage is going up quite a bit. And sometimes what seems like a quick or harmless task of generating an AI image, it seems like it's harmless, but it can really hurt your brand authenticity. So today we really want to encourage you to take those extra steps to, instead of using AI generated content, to instead take your own authentic images, and if you need to enhance them with AI, but to the main point being taking them yourself.
And then now we're going to go to the next segment, which is small businesses and how they use AI.
So first, we're going to talk about how our small business clients are using AI. So as we kind of mentioned before, drafting, so blog posts, social captions, content ideas, generating images, videos, graphics, or promotional content, and then again, just brainstorming some content ideas.
And then now we're going to talk about why small businesses turn to AI. This could be due to budget constraint. For example, hiring a professional photographer could be expensive, and then some people just use AI to generate images. Some people, time constraints. AI is pretty fast. And then some people also have the pressure to produce content quickly. And some small business owners think that they have the lack of creativity. And for some people, they're just naive. They just feel like people are not going to detect that it's AI. We have an example. There's this video we're about to show you guys of why a small business owner turned to using AI.
I'm Carl Winter at Bay Area Burger Company in Green Bay, where a photo of a family decked in Packers gear enjoying their burgers went viral. The only issue with this photo is that it's not real. That family never sat in front of this brick wall. It's an AI generated image.
I just asked for a family in Packer clothes eating hamburgers in front of a brick wall because we have a brick wall. And I thought it turned out pretty good.
But some on social media said the restaurant should be more transparent or take real photos. Manager Alex Stiles says artificial intelligence, or AI, is the future.
It does just shock me that people could be so just outwardly upset about it like that. That kind of shocked me, just because it's everywhere.
This comes after Green Bay's new public market also caught some heat for claiming these mascot photos were not AI generated, even though they were. Stiles says small businesses can't afford photographers or artists.
Obviously, you know that you're working all day, every day, doing what you can to get by.
So the restaurant uses Discord and ChatGPT to make social media posts.
If I was or was not busy, I would still use AI marketing without question.
But a digital marketing expert disagrees, saying the strategy could actually hurt a business.
You should not publish AI produced material. You will be penalized by the social media and by Google because they want original content. So it defeats the purpose of building your brand with original content when you publish AI driven content.
Fredrickson says it should be a tool, but not the final product. But Stiles is all in on AI and continuing to learn about how it can spice up the marketing campaign.
It's beneficial. It saves you time. We live in a very fast-paced society, and all we want to do is figure out how to have a little more quality time in our lives. And that's really what I'm getting at the end of the day, is a little more time to go home over having to be writing a Facebook post for tomorrow.
Stiles says Bay Area Burger Company will not shy away from its use of artificial intelligence on social media in the future and hopes that more of the posts are smash hits. In Green Bay, Carl Winter, NBC 26.
So after watching that interview, you probably can relate to a lot of those feelings that small business owners have. AI can certainly save you a lot of time. It's definitely convenient, but that doesn't mean that you should use it. Just because everyone might be using it or you feel that everyone is using it, don't resort to it, because just because it's convenient, that doesn't make it effective, especially in the example he showed. I mean, the only similarity that that AI image had for his brand was the brick wall. But aside from that, that isn't even a true representation of his business. The only part of the image you could actually associate with him is that wall. And again, that's gonna fool so many people, and it's definitely a short-term solution. So we want to encourage you too. So just don't sacrifice your brand. If you're going to use an AI generated image and the word's going to get around to your audience and to your viewers, they're going to know that that content is not authentic. And once they find out that it's not authentic, it's going to be hard to get their trust back. And it's going to be hard to, get people excited about your brand again, because they're not going to know what's true and what's false from that point on. And to prove that point as well, the public too is going to punish you. So if you remember in the video when they talked about those logos in the picture here for Green Bay Public Market, those AI generated logos are getting a bunch of backlash. So this screenshot here is from a Facebook comment from someone in the community. And this is the part I highlighted here, I think speaks a lot of truth, especially in the situation here. And they obviously had a lot to say, but at the end, they end it with, "Don't cheap out on what makes your business yours." So always just consider that. Consider the long-term effects of a quick AI generated image. Think about how that can affect you long-term.
Another example we had was this Coca-Cola ad that was completely generated by AI. As we play this video, we ask that you pay attention to the video, and then we're going to talk about it after.
in the night. Can you see it shining bright? Always looks to come down.
So after watching that video, you may have liked that commercial. It's roughly a year old, so it is kind of impressive the skill that AI had even a year ago. But unfortunately for Coca-Cola, the majority of the public is not a fan of that video whatsoever. These are some screenshots of some of the comments that were on YouTube. And as you can see, this first one here saying that the video was completely soulless. The next user saying they went and bought a Pepsi today because of that ad. And so you can just see it. And even Coca-Cola having the ability to afford a team and still using AI, you can see they're still getting the backlash too. No matter what size of business you have, people still want that authentic content, and you're going to get punished for using it online. So now we're going to talk about some examples of our small business clients using AI.
This first example was a client who wanted to start another nut and berry farm. She used AI images as placeholders in her website. What she said was, my business hasn't opened yet, so these AI images are just placeholders on my website until I can take my own photos. And the problem with this is that even if you haven't grown the fruit yet, like showing AI images just creates a promise that you can't keep. And people want to see the real work and not just like guessing what's gonna happen after, you know? And then a solution we had for her was using stock images instead of AI generated ones, because these are high quality images that are taken by actual photographers where AI isn't. And then this picture here on the left was the stock image we had for her, and we used Canva to get rid of the background and also create this graphic that she could use as placeholders for her website or, you know, social media or whatever.
Another example we served a personal chef client, and she had said to me, I didn't have a photo of a lemon meringue pie, but I wanted to post one, so I generated it with AI. And so the funny part about this photo is, so for some background context, this client was really good about sharing pictures of the food she prepared, whether it was for cooking classes or her personal services as well. So when she had put this photo, this lemon meringue pie was seen in her Instagram feed. When she had shared this on social media, I immediately showed Temi. I was like, oh my gosh, like look at this picture that my client posted. It looks so yummy. Oh my gosh, it's great. And Temi immediately was like, oh my gosh, like you're kidding me, right? Like this is so AI. And I'm like, no, like what? And then so Temi was like, look closer at it. So as you can see, it's probably a little hard to see, but just by zooming in, you can just tell the dimensions are off. It's just looks very overly polished. When you really look at it, you can tell that it's certainly AI. And the problem with this, especially for this client's industry, customers want the food that they're seeing to be the food that you actually prepare and put together. Using an image of work that's not actually yours can really damage your trust and your credibility. Also, if someone sees this on your social media, they might say, oh, I want to order one of those pies. Well, are you going to be able to put this exact replica together? Probably not. So we just really need to consider, yes, it's convenient to generate that quick image, but you need to consider the other factors that play a role as well. And so the solution with this, so this is kind of what I was mentioning, how this client was good at taking images of her work. So the solution here is, instead of having a photo generated, reference your own original image and instead enhance it if you need it. So as you can see on the left here, this is that original image of some food she had put together for a big event. And you can tell the original image is a little bit dull. It was taken off of a phone camera. So again, not super high expectations to begin with, but just by using the iPhone, I don't know how many of you are familiar with iPhone, but when you go into an iPhone image and you hit edit, there's this auto enhance button. So this literally used AI and enhanced this image within a couple seconds, completely brightened it up and made it look much more appealing. And so this would be an example of something we would recommend you sharing versus putting an image of AI into your feed.
And then now we're going to move on to the next segment, which is dangers of generative AI.
So one of the biggest dangers of using AI, which I kind of touched on with the lemon meringue pie, is that AI can be very deceiving. So AI is generating 34 million images a day, and I'm sure this number has already grown. It's every time it generates an image, it gets smarter and very hard to detect. I mean, I was even fooled by that lemon meringue pie image at first glance. So don't let that fool you though. Just because you might think you can get away with it doesn't mean you should do that. So it's super essential to use your own authentic images. So now we're going to look at some more examples of AI generated content, and we can look at why this is dangerous to use. So here for the first example, this is chicken cordon bleu. This is a authentic real image. Just wanted to show for those that maybe don't know what chicken cordon bleu is. But as you can see, this is a true representation of what chicken cordon bleu would look like. A little bit messier with that melted cheese. And then next photo shows what AI generated for chicken cordon bleu. So you can just see the initial difference. It obviously has that very over polished look. I mean, everything about this image just looks flawless, not messy. And if you know anything about chicken cordon bleu, you know that the AI generated image is not a true reflection of this dish. So consider this with your business. Even when it's convenient to use AI, AI can easily fail to portray the reality of the item you're trying to showcase.
The next reason why generative AI could be dangerous is how misleading it could get. AI images might look slick, but they often misinterpret the reality. For example, we asked ChatGPT to generate an image of the interior of Varsity Club in Oshkosh, and from the first look, you could tell that this sign up here is completely different from their logo. Their logo uses more of yellow, black. The only blue you can see is this up here. So that just shows how it's kind of lazy in a sense, because Varsity Club is actually, you could look this up on Google, and we did actually, and this is what the interior of Varsity Club actually looks like, and that's just to show you how AI could be very misleading and showing you what isn't real, because even the table arrangement is different from the one that in the original image, and then the people look happy, but I just feel like it's the same people in every table also. Like, do you see that?
Yeah.
I'm just seeing that now, actually.
And like when looking at this example, it's important to reference, we're not trying to showcase that the AI image looks more inviting and fun. We're just trying to show how they didn't even get the interior of that Varsity Club bar correct at all. Like the alignment, like these are all just facing different directions. The color of the pool table is completely different. Just trying to show that just because, you might think AI can properly showcase your business, it really can't. And this also, it doesn't even look like there's room for them to be playing pool
Yeah.
either. So it just shows how it's just not really a true representation of this business at all.
Yeah. And then another way it could be misleading is how it, like, for example, this same Nut and Berry Farm website, her landing page keyword is edibles, and that could create brand confusion because there are different types of edibles. And with that being said, that could bring in the wrong target audience to her website. And that's not really what we want for our website. We don't want the wrong target audience. We know the kind of audience we want, and that just creates more brand confusion. So yeah, using AI can be beneficial, but I would say use it as a tool and not just a complete, replacement.
And we'll give more context too about the specific client, but just for like a quick reference here. So the reason it was titled edibles is because AI had completely generated this website for this client. She paid probably roughly 30 to 40 bucks and got her whole website generated. And you can just see AI completely misled her main products, which are those berries and nuts. And they gave her that title of edibles. So that's just like the point. It's very misleading. And in this case, it's honestly going to hurt her brand because that's not even a true reflection of the service that she's providing or the product. Another danger about AI is that it can create hallucinations. So this is an example of a well-known business in Oshkosh called Fox River Brewing. It's a big restaurant right off the river. And so I asked ChatGPT to generate me an image of Fox River Brewery in Oshkosh, Wisconsin with their outdoor area. all seasons of the year. They have a lot going on outside. They have the umbrellas right now. In the winter, they have igloos that you can sit in. But as you can see, this bottom image here is the real picture of the restaurant. And this is what AI put together. So pretty much even with this image down here being all over Google, they have so many social medias. This restaurant has been in Oshkosh for a while. It's nothing new. Even with all those resources out there on the web, AI still put together this image up top. The building isn't even anywhere close of a resemblance to the original. The only thing they seem to have correct is the river front here by the restaurant. But even like the umbrellas, just everything. And you can get super specific with AI, but it still will never be able to fully capture every small detail. So just really consider that with your brand. If you want to use an AI generated image, just remind yourself that it's not going to be the most effective method.
And going back to Carlene's point about being more specific with AI, back to Fox River Brewing, we were really specific. We told it to generate an image with wooden tables, bunch of green and blue umbrellas with people sitting in them outside on a sunny day. This is what the real image is at Fox River Brewing, and this is what ChatGPT generated for us. So that's just to show that even with how specific you can get, it still wouldn't show you the exact same thing. You can see how it looks like there's so many people here, like there's a really big space, but you can see here that space is not too big or not as big as what ChatGPT is trying to portray here. And then if you zoom into the people's faces, that is what that like everyone in this image over here looks like. And I don't think like, you know, that's what every
Yeah,
person looks
right.
like. So that's just to show how like ChatGPT or AI in general could be lazy in generating images, and this is not what you would want for your, social media posts and all.
And AI definitely struggles with those fine details as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you actually zoomed in and you noticed all of the faces being a little bit morphed, you would notice that as an obvious one. But also too, like from the standpoint of like a business owner and a consumer, if you share this image on your social media channels, as a consumer, this might be almost overwhelming because you might think, oh my gosh, they're like packed. This might be what I think they look like every day. And as a consumer, that could be overwhelming too. So you would be better off just using real authentic content. You can see in the top here how the umbrellas have more like they're telling more of a story. They're showing it's a little bit of a windy day, and all of these are just the AI umbrellas are all uniform and perfect, and it doesn't speak any story. Like Fox River Brewery is located right off the river. Of course, there's going to be some wind, and there's going to be boats and attractions and something to look at, and this just kind of takes away from all of that. So just really consider how AI can fail to portray the reality of your business. Another danger too with using AI is it produces very unrealistic images. So these are all three examples of images made with ChatGPT. And just take a look, like look at the textures and the dimensions and just the overall quality. It's all just too perfect, and it's not something that consumers can necessarily relate to. Using an image like this can create a huge disconnect from reality to the product that you serve. I mean, I don't know about you, but I have never been to any type of a restaurant before that has had this huge loaded croissant. I don't even know how these like toppings here are balancing on that croissant. I have no idea. And just like looking at this too, this dessert, it just almost looks like glass. It's just too perfect and it's just not realistic. And sometimes you might think, oh, this looks really good and yummy, but people are going to catch on. Like anyone that views your post, they're going to look at this and just be like, yeah, there's no way someone could have recreated that. So just think about that. Don't let yourself get too naive to the products that AI is producing.
Another danger is how AI is becoming harder to detect. You might wonder why this is important, but even if your image doesn't physically appear to be fake, that doesn't mean it's representing your brand correctly. For example, we have this person who, by the way, isn't real. Apparently, this is an AI influencer. I don't know, we just found out that this was a thing now. And then you can see like how people are commenting. We don't know if these are actual people or if they're also AI. People are commenting. She has over 100,000 followers, and she has stories, highlights on her Instagram, and that's just like to show you how AI is becoming harder to detect. So AI doesn't know your brand like you do. I don't think anyone would know your brand like you do. So all AI knows is what you tell it, and AI doesn't have the brand personality or physical connection to the brand like you do. So yeah, that's just to show like how important it is to have your own images or your own content to add to that human feel or that human touch to your brand.
And then to further with this account, so this account ran like a Q&A session. And again, very hard to know that this person isn't even real. I mean, it took us a long time with research to figure out that this account was fake, especially because they're verified with all their follower base. You would have no idea. They post videos, like it's really hard to tell.
She
But
even
this,
has a sister.
yes, and a
Apparently.
sister too. Like you would have no idea, no idea. But so this is where it kind of becomes the credibility concern. So here a question was asked of what's your workout routine? And you can see this is a leg routine that was listed, goes through everything, even gives tips. And like just how would you feel as like as a user, people are engaging with this account thinking that this is a real influencer, a real person, and essentially they're kind of being lied to out of just being oblivious to not knowing it's AI. So as a business owner, think about how your consumers would feel if they knew that they were engaging with strictly AI content or content that's not even yours or even legit. Think of those long-term consequences. Think of how you would feel if you were just honestly looking for some workout routine advice or and you found out it was a fake person. Like how would that make you feel knowing that this workout routine is not going to lead you to the body that you potentially want to achieve from this AI influencer. So just think about how you can really affect your consumer base with using AI content. Another credibility concern here as well is the same client that we referenced earlier with her AI generated website. Her business isn't even open yet, but she did want to get ahead of the game by having her website put together. So AI put it together for her. And as you can see, AI had put in testimonials as placeholders. So this is just a huge concern because these aren't even legit testimonials. How would you feel too if you came across this website and you read this testimonial and went to go because you're like, this review looks great. I'm excited to have the same experience. How would you feel if you were misled and then you come to find out the business isn't even open? And then how would you feel as a business owner knowing how hard that you work to earn a real high quality testimonial? How would that make you feel if your competition is just potentially referencing an AI fake testimonial? Like that's a huge credibility concern, especially because they're not even open. Like how could you even have a testimonial at this point in time?
Another danger is how AI could affect your metadata. Many tools contain invisible watermarks to the image they generate for you, and that's really hard to see. And then the detection of these watermarks keep improving, and that could lead to credibility loss, audience distrust, and potential ethical issues. And that's just why we keep on saying use your own pictures because this builds trust, protects your brand, and also avoids future risks.
And then to build on that point too, there's going to be a huge upcoming penalty with Meta Business Suite. For those that aren't familiar, Meta Business Suite is kind of a partnership with Facebook and Instagram, but they had recently announced that they're working on placing tags on any AI images that are published by users. So essentially, if you can see in the highlighted part here, they are going to be labeling any images that are posted to Facebook, Instagram, and Threads when they can detect through like those invisible watermarks that they are AI generated. This is really going to start holding businesses accountable, both large and small scale, for creating authentic content. And it's going to be very difficult to cover up an AI generated image when it is physically labeled in your feed as or like tagged with AI or AI generated or AI produced. So we really want to encourage you now to take the time to get ahead. We know it's growing. We know the AI usage. It might be hard to tell that it's AI, but it's going to be hard for you to cover that up long term when all of that metadata starts coming out and when Meta Business Suite starts penalizing with that tag. This kind of goes back to that interview where our supervisor, Kathy, was talking about how Google penalizes AI images as well. Google likes to prioritize those authentic images. And I actually had a client who told me from her experience, all the images she puts on Facebook that are actually her own images naturally just do so much better than anything she shared that AI created. So just really consider that when you're, thinking about your content and putting stuff out online.
And then now we're going to talk about how AI generated AI impacts our work.
So we're gonna invite our coworker Connor Walsh onto the camera now to talk about his experience with working with the AI developed website.
Hello, nice being with you guys today. I'm just here to talk about one of my clients. It was the Berry and Nut Farm that used this platform 10 Web to create their website. And we're not sharing the platform because we're suggesting to use it. We actually don't like it that much, and I'll explain why. As marketers, we like to be very intentional with what we do on our website. So before we make our own websites, we'll sitemap it and make sure that our pages align with the target audience that we have in mind. And 10Web kind of just takes that away from you. You'll prompt it and it'll make the pages that you want, but they're not going to be optimized well. They're going to be full of AI content, and that's kind of the main problem. So this is the sitemap that it created for my client. And my client doesn't have any marketing or web background, so this is very overwhelming for her. 10Web kind of just threw her in the deep end, and I've actually been working on a website through one of my classes here last semester, and I had around 10 plugins on there, and it was kind of hard to juggle them all. When I was working on her website, I saw there were 38 plugins. So it can just kind of be overwhelming. And then when you go and sift through all of these pages, they have AI content that doesn't necessarily align. I don't know if they highlighted, but this Nut and Berry farm isn't even open yet. But there were multiple different dates on there that said when they open, and not all of them aligned. So it can be kind of hard when relying on AI to make sure everything lines up accurately. And then these are just a sample of the images she had on her website. And as a nut and berry farm, having pictures like this isn't that great. People come to your website and say, oh, these are clearly AI. Like these are clearly AI images. You don't
Very
want to be
obvious.
having these on your website advertising, hey, this is what we do, but we don't have images to back it up. So I think the imagery on your website can be very important, and it's important to be intentional about it because it can really help you tell the story of your website.
Definitely. Yeah, thank you, Connor,
Yeah.
for pitching in there. So yes, just really want to encourage, and I believe that that client only spent a decent amount for that website too, but just showing that even what might seem like a quick and helpful task and cheap and affordable, which we know is oftentimes a big factor with a small business, does not make it the best route for you and can have a lot of negative impact.
And then now we're going to talk about the benefits of taking your own pictures.
Oops. So the first benefit of taking your own photo is that your images are just going to be so much better than an AI generated image. So in this example here, I asked AI to generate me an image of blueberry muffins, and this is the image it gave me. This is the image that my client had of her muffins. And I don't know about you, but the AI muffins, they look flat, they look burnt, they don't look tasty at all. They just look very dried out, honestly. And the muffins that my client actually produced and made herself and snapped a photo of with her phone camera, those look so much more fluffy and moist and what I think of when I think of a muffin. These just do not look appealing whatsoever. So this is just an example of when you would be so much better off using your own image as well. If you were to showcase these muffins on your social media, I honestly would not be interested as a consumer. I would think I could probably put together a much more, tasty, moist, fluffy muffin. These just would not want to, you wouldn't want to showcase this with all of your experience in culinary. So again, this is just an example of the client literally being better off with using her own work versus the work AI can put together.
And then the next benefit is that your images build trust. Authenticity is everything. Customers are more likely to trust and connect with real photos of your product, team, or space. And AI-generated images can feel generic or misleading, especially if they don't reflect your actual business. And then featuring real staff, customers, experiences, that's what makes your brand more relatable and credible. This image right here is a scam report that one of our clients got because she generated her website completely using AI. And that was really fast because she doesn't even have the business yet and she's already getting a scam report from Google. So that's why we keep talking about why you should keep taking your own pictures, using your own content, and adding that human touch to your content. So the key takeaway for this is while AI tools are great for inspiration, using your own images prove that you're not just a business, you're also human.
And then I just want to add one more thing too. With having a scam review already from Google, Google is not going to prioritize this website. So when individuals are searching for like a nut and berry farm near them or near me, Google is not going to prioritize this website in their search results because this website is so filled with AI that Google is not going to put that on top. Google is going to prioritize those authentic pages with the real content. So just take the extra time to use your own work. Don't have everything be fully AI. We understand that you're busy and we understand a lot of small business owners do, everything all across the board, the marketing, they work, they do like the payroll, everything. We totally understand that, but we can't stress enough the quick consequences that can come with just, using AI. Another benefit of taking your own photo is that you actually own the photos. From a photographer standpoint, you can fully control what is actually in the image. If you take a stock photo, you have no control of what the image all entails. But to build on that point too, you won't ever have to reference stock photos. You can just take the photo that you need yourself, which is nice because then you won't ever have to pay for the photo and you won't have to worry about someone else also using that same stock image. And the nice part too is having your own photos means you can properly showcase your brand in the way you want it to be. This will mean that the images of your products will be legit and 100% accurate with the information. And this will just help create trust all across the board. No one will look at your images and have to question if they were generated with AI.
And then back to the point of, people using your own photos, this image of the chicken cordon bleu was generated by AI. And as you can see, we have 3 accounts, 3 completely different accounts. We even found more, but for the sake of this presentation, we're using these 3 of the same image. And, we don't know who the original owner is. This one at the bottom even added the ingredients and how to make it and everything. And this one at the left also has comments saying perfection because they think that people made that. And that's just to show how, like, when you have your own pictures, like, you're not gonna find someone else using your own images. And yeah, that's just how important it is. It's actually very, very important to have your own images because as a business owner, after taking the time to take your own images, you don't want people to, use your image too. So that just shows the authenticity in your own images.
And now we're going to talk about some proper uses of AI.
You can use AI to enhance product presentation for your website. An example here is this hair styling mist that I used for this example. I put just a regular picture of this on my hand and I sent that to ChatGPT and I was like, okay, generate a professional picture with this product from my website. And this is what ChatGPT gave to me. And you can see you can use that for your website. It's very professional. And like the most important thing is that you have the product. And that's why we emphasize using your own pictures because once you have the product, that's perfect. Then you could just use, AI, ChatGPT, whatever you use to get your professional picture so you don't have to hire a professional photographer and pay all that money. And we also want to emphasize that you can use this as a placeholder till you are able to afford a professional photographer for your website and social media and all that stuff.
Yeah, we definitely would recommend it being like a temporary solution, kind of like what Temi was saying. Of course, long term, once your business gets more growth and you can afford the professional photos, we would certainly recommend that just because any image generated with AI will have that in its metadata, like we were talking about earlier. But it's certainly a good way to start. If you have no means of taking a photo of your product with white background, it's definitely a good starting point. But again, we would definitely suggest this being a temporary solution. And then this is another proper use of AI. So with the tool called Canva, you can use Canva Pro with their AI background removing tool. And so this is one of our clients. She has granola for her product, and she presented us with this original image. And as you can see, this is definitely like she had professional photos done, and we'll show you an example with like an everyday photo. So don't fear that you need to have professional photos to do this. This is just an example with professional photos. So here is her granola being tossed up in the air. We used Canva Pro with the background removing tool to take out that background. And then once we did that, we placed it onto a graphic. We could add our text, add our font, add some coloring, add her logo, which we covered for right now, add some shadowing. But you can just see how just by taking that original image, we can do a lot to enhance it and make it something completely different. But just the whole point being starting out with your own image, you can really work a lot with this. And this whole graphic, this remover tool, it literally takes like what, 10 seconds?
Yeah.
It scans the image and then boom, takes it out. So super fast. All we did then is just copy it, paste it on a new graphic, add some text, and that's the result. So this whole process probably took 10 minutes. And this would be so much better from a consumer standpoint, from a reality of like a Google standpoint. Everyone is going to want to see this type of work, authentic graphics, authentic images over something AI made.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes too, you know, people, small business clients that we talk with, they pay for ChatGPT Pro, which costs like roughly $20 a month. They pay for that, and then AI creates these graphics with typos. They have the wrong information, their logo's wrong. When you create it yourself, you are in full control of all of that. You won't have to see those errors, and you end up with good looking work.
Okay. And then here's an example with a non-professional photo. You see, this is an everyday picture of a bouquet of roses, and you can even see the background. It's just an everyday picture. And then we use the same Canva Pro using this tool called the background remover, and we got rid of the background. We also used Canva to, you know, make this graphic for Instagram, Facebook. You could also even use it on your website. And that's just to show how like AI is really fast. Like she said, it took like 10 seconds to get rid of the background, and it was perfect. And we even like put it on this, you know, little flat plate or whatever you could call it. Yeah, that's just to show you don't even need a professional photo to make something like this.
Yeah, definitely. Another proper use of AI is just brainstorming content ideas. Oftentimes, it's very hard to know what to post or how to switch up your content, how to find that good happy medium. But so feel free to use AI to ask for ideas. I mean, this example here, I asked AI, I said I was a sports bar owner and I wanted some content ideas. And this is what they gave to me really quick here. So definitely reference it for ideas. Get the idea. Maybe you have a picture of wings and you're like, how can I make this into something I promote online? Get the idea from AI, but then make sure you're taking your own image and putting together your own graphic, just making sure to use it as a tool.
And then back to that, brainstorming a caption is something you can also use AI for as a good resource. An example was this image. This image right here was for Wing Wednesday caption ideas, and you could also personalize it because you know the kind of audience you want to capture. Like for example, this one says fun and catchy, bold and promotional. You could really be specific and tell what exactly you want. You could say, "Oh, I want this for kids. I want a kids promotional." Maybe like Wing Wednesday for kids could generate lots of captions for you. But always remember to add your own human touch to the caption because you still want the caption to sound like you and not just completely AI generated.
And I will say too, a quick give that it's obviously AI is when your caption is fully exploded with emojis.
Oh yeah.
So like if you're posting captions, you're using AI and you're posting captions filled with emojis, we all know we're like, yeah, that's totally AI. So just make sure it's not your final work. Use it as a tool, but like we keep reiterating, don't make it your final work. And now we're going to talk about some AI tools that we use at the Digital Marketing Clinic.
So some of our favorite tools at the clinic are Adobe Lightroom, Photoshop, Canva that we mentioned before, and ChatGPT. We would recommend Canva and ChatGPT for like beginners if you don't know much about like, you know, marketing or enhanced AI enhancement in general. Canva is about 15 a month and ChatGPT is about $20 a month. But if you want to go more in depth and learn more, you can use Lightroom and Photoshop, and this comes as a bundle for about 20 a month. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's if you want to go more in depth, but we would recommend Canva and ChatGPT for beginners.
And both of those graphics we showed earlier were all made with Canva too.
Mhm.
So Canva is our favorite designing software. We make all of our graphics off of Canva.
Yeah, and that was what we used for the background remover tool, also for the examples we made before.
And let's also reiterate too, another great resource to not forget about is simply your phone. So don't ever discredit the ability of your phone's camera. Oftentimes, I feel like when people hear the word taking authentic photos, they think of needing an expensive camera. You don't, especially with the technology in our iPhones and our Samsungs and all those brands out there. The technology is growing so rapidly that you really don't need to invest into a separate camera. All these photos you're looking at here were taken from an iPhone 13, so not even the newest iPhone. And these are for a small business, a plumbing company. And just like the importance of these images is these are all unique to that business. Just because you're a plumber doesn't mean you can recreate these exact job sites. So having them just like take those few seconds to take out the phone and flip an image is just perfect because these are authentic to them. It showcases some of the work they're actually doing. And this is what we would highly suggest for you to do with your business.
And then one of the tools that we have AI remover tool on the iPhone, we have this cleanup tool in the edit button when you're trying to edit your photos, and it just completely removes whatever you don't want from the image. For example, here I removed those two people, and I also got rid of that because I was trying to highlight this little walkway. And then yeah, but I would just mention that this is only compatible with iPhone 15 Pro and newer, so the iPhone 15 Pro, iPhone 16 and newer. But in the next slide, yes, this is another AI remover tool, but this is on Google Photos, and you can use it on any Apple product, any iPhone or any Android, and it basically does the same thing. Just brush over whatever you want to get rid of, and it's called the Magic Eraser tool on the Google Photos. So just completely brush off whatever you don't want. Like I said, I use the same image just to show you how it does basically the same thing, just to highlight the walkway.
And Google Photos too, I have that as well. I'm an iPhone user, but I have it and it's free. At least I don't pay for any storage for it. So these are just resources that are already embedded within your phone that you may not even know about. But just proves the point. You can take your own pictures of your products, and if you need to touch it up or enhance that image by removing something, you can do that a lot easier than you may think you can. This is another example of using Adobe Lightroom. In this image here, the arm is kind of in that picture, as you can see. So I use the erase tool in Lightroom, and that basically just uses AI to remove any of the part that you brush over. So you can see how that object is selected, and then within just a few moments here, now the arm is fully gone with the help of AI, and you have a much more seamless photo without that distracting arm in it.
And then AI tooltips. We always recommend that you review and edit before you publish. Like I said, that human touch, we always want that in our content, website, social media, whatever it is. And then for your captions, make sure your content still sounds like you. And then always make sure you use AI as a creative partner and not just a full replacement, because that could really damage your brand. And always keep your brand voice and your visuals consistent in your content.